Hi there, I'm Betsy. In this video, I'm giving you a complete Zoom tutorial made just for beginners. I'll walk you through everything you need to know, from Zoom's pricing plans to how to join or host a meeting, plus a tour of the key features inside the Zoom Workplace app. So if you're brand new to Zoom, don't worry, just follow along, and by the end of this video, you'll feel like a Zoom pro. So we get started on Zoom on the website at zoom.us. Okay, so from the Zoom website, in order to get started, you need to have an account. And your account with Zoom is created by clicking on the sign up for free in the top right corner. But before we get there, let me take you through some of the pricing. So Zoom offers you a number of different types of accounts, starting with a free or basic account. The free account includes the ability to have a meeting with up to 100 people in attendance. The catch is the meeting has to be a duration of 40 minutes or less. Now, this isn't a very professional way to run your business. However, if you're just getting started and you need a way to hold a virtual event, this is a great way to get started. You can hold shorter meetings and invite up to 100 people, including yourself. Now you'll see, in addition to the length of the meeting and the number of participants, there are other things that are included in your account, such as the ability to use a team chat, which is continuing discussing or chatting with your virtual event attendees after the live session has ended. Now from here, you can see that a free account also gives you the ability to create clips. You can have access to Zoom Mail and connect your calendar. You can also create Zoom Docs as well as tasks. Now, tasks is this new ability with AI-infused tools. It actually listens to you through a transcript when your meeting is going on, and then it creates tasks for you, easing up your workflow in between your live sessions. And then you have Zoom Notes and also Whiteboard ability. So you'll see the difference between the free account and the paid account is the quantity of each of those items. For instance, you can have on a paid account, you can have an unlimited amount of Zoom Docs, whereas on a basic account, you're limited to 10 of them. So now if we look at that next lineup, the pro account is really where you want to settle in if you are a business growing and you want to have a professional presence on Zoom. This is annually is going to come to about $13 a month when you pay one time full for the whole year. You can also go month to month on these plans. You'll pay a little more, but if you're just trying it out, I recommend that you go for a paid account monthly until you're really comfortable. But don't go too long. If you find that you've done Zoom for at least a month or two, upgrade to that annual plan and you'll be really happy you did. It's a great investment. Zoom has become a virtual office and it's a business communication platform. And you'll see that the paid account gives you those 100 participants as well. However, your meeting duration is up to 30 hours per meeting. So you can have a long event all day. You can have a 6-hour class and be rest assured that your pro account will handle that. And when you upgrade to a pro account and you have that paid version, you'll see that you also have the ability to do custom avatars and you also get live chat support. In addition to using other apps, Zoom gives you a full app marketplace of third-party apps that you can add on. Now you'll see there's another level up, which is just a couple more dollars a month when you pay annually, and that's the business level plan. It does give you the ability to have a larger audience, which may benefit you, and you'll also want to know that you'll get higher video quality as well. All right, so now let's go through as if we're going to create a free account. So go ahead and click Sign Up. You first have to verify your birth year. So you're going to type your birth year here and then click Continue. Now to continue, you need to have an existing email address. Use the email address here that you want to be contacted. This is going to be your login email as well as the email that you use to communicate with Zoom. It's also the email address that your attendees will be contacting you about in terms of the invitations that you send out for your virtual event. And then click Continue. As you can see here, Zoom will send you a verification code. Go into that email, get the code, and place it here to continue. And then click Verify to continue. At this point in the process, you want to enter your name and then pick a password that is secure. You want to use a combination of letters and numbers and symbols and mix them up, capitals and lowercase, and make sure you write this down. You should have a secure place where you carry all of your passwords. So get that book out, put this down as your Zoom password so that if ever you need it, you'll know where it is. And then click Continue. You will see from time to time as a basic free account user that Zoom will offer to you a way to upgrade. We're not going to do that at this time, but from time to time you'll notice that you'll either want a longer meeting duration or you'll need some of those other features that a paid account has. And I'll tell you, when it comes to offering a Zoom event that is engaging, you'll want to upgrade for sure. You can even get better video quality in your recordings. But for now, we're going to continue where it says, take me to my basic account. Okay. All right, so this screen comes up confirming for you that you're in. The next thing to do is to take a look at your Zoom profile, and you do that by clicking on that silhouette icon in the upper right corner. And then from there, click on your name. Okay, Zoom will offer you some upgrades. For now, you can just click no thanks. And from here, you can look at this as your dashboard to your account. You can always come back here to look at the status of your last meeting and what it entailed. And as you scroll down the screen, you'll see that it gives you access to those pieces of your account, the other features that we talked about earlier. But for now, I want you to notice in the upper right corner where it says download Zoom, you will have to do that eventually in order to actually attend someone else's meeting or send out the invites for your own that you're going to host. But first, we're going to make sure that we're identified properly. So we're going to put in our profile picture. Go ahead and click where you see that gray silhouette right by your name. Hover your mouse pointer over that and then click the little pencil. So in the box that comes up, we're going to go grab a picture of ourselves that we want to show up when we are on Zoom. This picture will show up inside the chat. It will show up when our video is off and we're attending the meeting or we're hosting the meeting. People will see this static photo of us to identify either our business or our personal brand. And so this picture that you're going to get has to be lower than 2 megabytes. So if you've got a photo from your photographer, you want to make sure that you ask for a slightly lower quality version. You don't want to use extremely high quality photos in here because you might be told that they're too big. So let's take a look just by clicking on where it says choose files. So on your computer, just navigate to where you have that photo saved. Go ahead and click it, and then it'll show up here. And then what you can do is decide how you want that photo to be cropped. Just put your pointer inside the box, and you'll see you get that 4-way arrow pointer, and you just click and drag up and down, and you can decide what parts of that picture are going to show. You see, not every photo that comes from your phone, let's say, can fit in this little profile picture area. So whatever is fitting inside that little grid, like this, I'm going to bring it down just a little. That's what it's going to look like when you are showing your profile picture on Zoom. And then go ahead and click Save. The other thing you're going to want to verify is that your name is spelled correctly and that is showing how you want it to look when you are on Zoom. You will be able to rename yourself in every Zoom meeting, but you don't want to have to do that every single time. So if you click over on the left-hand side where it says My Account, and then you'll click on Profile. Okay, great. So at this point, I've got to show you the area where you can edit your name. Notice all the way over on the right-hand side, the word edit. Go ahead and click there. And now the boxes open up. You're going to put your name, how you want it to appear. And then every time you connect with Zoom, that name will appear. You can also add your company or your department and your location, but those are not required. Just make sure you click Save at the bottom. All right, so notice under your name in this section where you see your personal information, your language is indicated there. as well as your phone number. If you want to have your phone number in, then you'll have to click on Add Phone Number on the right side. But more importantly, look at the line item that says Time Zone. Make sure that represents the time zone that you are in from where you are holding your meetings. If you hold your meetings to people globally all over the world, the invite that is being sent to them through a calendar event will convert the time into their local time zone. So you want to indicate the time that it's happening for you. So let's say that you always schedule events at 12 p.m. Eastern time because that's where you are located. You want to keep this on Eastern, and you would click on Edit and then click inside the box, and you'll be able to scroll until you see the other time zones, and you'll pick them from there. Make sure you click Save underneath to save your changes. Okay, now just ending out with the bottom of this area, inside your profile, oftentimes, if you don't know what type of account you have, you can't remember if you upgraded to what account, you're gonna wanna come here and it tells you all about what type of plan you have. You can see whether you have basic or pro. You can see if you have extra features enabled in your account. And then it also verifies for you what email you used as your sign in. Now, these are all things that if you weren't logged in, you wouldn't see these. So take a moment now, jot all these down in a notebook on a page labeled Zoom. Keep it in a secure place. If ever you need this information, you'll know where it's located. Okay, so now that we've got our account set up and our profile picture set, as well as our name, let's go back to where it says Home on that left sidebar. And then in that upper right corner, let's go to Download Zoom, because that's where you have to go next in order to even have a Zoom meeting, attend a Zoom meeting. You have to go here and use the Zoom Workplace application. Now you can see here, it downloads it inside your browser, and in that list there, you're going to click where it says Zoom. Now, if you're on a Mac, it's going to be a PKG file. That's what Mac computers have, and it'll look somewhat like this after you open it. If you're on a Windows computer, it's very similar, except it ends in EXE. So when that file was downloaded, just go ahead and click it, and you'll have to go through the motions here to install the Zoom Workplace. We are going to be choosing all of the options that are chosen for us. So you'll follow along as I'm doing here. So when Zoom is installed, it shows up like this as the Zoom Workplace application. And it's waiting for you to sign in with your Zoom account email. Once you sign in with your email and your password, then the home screen shows up where you can do a number of things, including join a meeting. So if someone has invited you to a Zoom meeting, most likely they will send you a link to that meeting. And when you click the link, it will do what this button does. But it's best practices to sign in here to your Zoom Workplace application first, and then go out to that email or message, or maybe you're seeing a link in a social media chat thread. Wherever the link is, when you click it, it will do what this button does. If you don't have the link, then you would click here and you would ask them for the meeting ID, which you would put in here. You could also edit how you want your name to show up just by simply deleting this and putting in how you want to be referred to in the meeting. And then you could say here whether you don't want to have audio. That would be if you were coming in with multiple devices, or if you want to join the meeting without your video on, and then you would click join. This screen also gives you the opportunity to create a new meeting, start a new meeting as the host. And when you click there, it will open up a new meeting so that you can host the meeting and invite people in. Okay, so this is the screen you see when you are hosting a meeting. And down there in the bottom left corner, the first thing you would want to do is to make sure while you're in here by yourself that your audio is coming through okay, and your video, obviously you can see yourself, but you might want to change some of the settings. So down there in the left corner, when you click right on the microphone, and you see that the red line goes through the button, you are muted. And you click on the video icon right on top of it, and you see that red line go through it, that means that you're turning your video off. People can still hear you in the meeting, but you won't be able to be seen on camera like this. And then beside each button is a little tiny up arrow. You click on the little tiny up arrow next to the microphone. You can do things in the menu, such as you can test your speaker and microphone. This is what I like to do, especially when your microphone is right near you. You may not know what the level is coming through to the meetings. So you click on that little arrow next to the microphone and then click where it says test speaker and microphone. You will hear a sound telling you that your speakers are playing correctly. You can say yes, and then you're going to speak. And that tells you that your microphone is working as well. And if not, you can click try another microphone, or you can click here in the list. Maybe your microphone is not selected correctly. And then you can end that test. You can also check your video settings by going to the video settings menu. That's by clicking that little arrow next to the video button. And first of all, it verifies for you which camera you're using. Make sure if you're using a connected webcam that one is selected at the top of that list. And then you can do things like blur your background. If for some reason you wanted to have a little more privacy, you could do that right from the menu. You can also go in and adjust your virtual background if you didn't want to have a physical background behind you. All right. Something to know about managing them, whether you are the host of the meeting or whether you are attending someone else's, you can actually see who is there by using the participants list, which you'll see here in your host toolbar. And when you click there, you will have the participants list where everyone is shown alphabetically by first name. You are shown at the very top, and then the host, and then the co-host. If there are multiple co-hosts, you will see them as well. And then followed by anybody that is unmuted, and then followed by the people who are muted. And everybody is in first name order in that section. Now, when you're a host, you can hover your pointer over a person's name and you have the ability to rename them. So if they came into your meeting and they don't know how to rename themselves, maybe their name is not spelled correctly, or sometimes it comes in as their device name or number, then you can rename them by hovering over their name, clicking on more, and then in that menu, you have some choices available to you, only if you're the host of the meeting. And keep in mind, there's only one host in every Zoom meeting. You can have multiple co-hosts, and when you make someone the co-host, you give them this capability to also either mute people or unmute people, and you'll see that in this list right here. So you can make that person a co-host, you can rename them, you can also allow certain permissions inside this list as well. In that list, that menu there, you can also do things like put them back in the waiting room. The waiting room is an area prior to coming in here into the main meeting room. And if for some reason they weren't meant to be in your meeting or your class, you can put them out there until you check on their registration properly. And then some of these items are for security reasons. If for some reason someone gets into your event and they're not supposed to be there, you can remove them. Or I'd hate to see that this would be needed, but you can report them to Zoom as well. So when you're the host or the co-host in a meeting, you can also do something that only you have the capability to do, and that is to mute everyone. So when you click that button in the middle bottom of your participants list, everyone gets muted. And it's a great way with just one click to remove any external noise that you hear while you're presenting. In addition, there is a more menu. And when you click there, in that menu, you have the opportunity to ask everybody to unmute. You see, for security reasons, you can't just unmute someone without them knowing. They have to be prompted, and then they will unmute on their end with a button that shows up on their screen. In addition to that, one feature I love to use is called mute upon entry, so that when people are entering your meeting, maybe a little bit late and you started your presentation, they will be automatically muted. That's a great way that they don't disturb you while your presentation's going on. I mean, they don't mean to disturb you. They just don't know that they're making noise, or even the fact that they have entered the meeting room while their computer is connecting. And then some of these other options really are particular to you. You can play a sound when someone joins or leaves. You can show the people who have been invited, but they have not joined yet. You can lock the meeting. This is a way of like putting a virtual lock on the door when people arrive late, and let's say they get credit coming to your event. Let's say say like a continuing education credit, well, if you say you must be there no more than 10 minutes late, after 10 minutes, you can lock the meeting and then they won't be able to get in when they click the link. The other options there have to do with maybe turning off the waiting room. You can disable it. You can also hide people's profile pictures if you want it to be a more private meeting. And then finally, you can take away the ability for people to unmute themselves. So if you want a standard presentation where you don't hold Q&A until the end, you can take away the ability, make sure nobody can unmute by clicking there. Now watch. See how there's no check mark next to it, which means that they will not be able to unmute themselves until the end, when then you say, okay, time for Q&A. So you go back to that list, click on the same option. You see now it has a check mark next to it and they'll be able to unmute themselves. And then people can ask questions in a more controlled environment so that people are not interjecting as you go along. Okay, so while everyone is muted and you're making your presentation, there is a way that they can communicate with you non-verbally, and that's using the chat. The chat is located also in your toolbar. And you see this, the co-host sees this, and all the participants see this. So the chat is available to everyone as long as you have opened up those settings ahead of time. And then it opens up in that right sidebar where at the very bottom, you see where it says to everyone. And then underneath there, it says type the message here. So I encourage you to engage with your participants here in the chat. Like put in a message to say hello and say where they're from. Make sure that you either click that little paper airplane button or press enter for the chat to appear. It must appear in the thread there on the right. And then people will be engaging with you in the chat. Also encourage them that they can engage by clicking on the little emoji icons that appear underneath. So you can react to someone else's message in a chat, and you can also reply to someone else's message in the chat. And you can do that, the co-host can do that, and so can any participant. Just make sure that if you're the one in charge, that you let people know that they must click that little paper airplane button to get their message entered into the chat. And so as the engagement goes on, you can also use some of the formatting techniques. And that is with the toolbar button that you see, there is a capital letter T, which turns on the formatting. And when you click there, you can click one of the buttons, like if you want to make your text bold, you can highlight it and click the letter B, and then it bolds it inside the chat, which can be a lot of fun. Here, you can turn on different ways that your text will appear in the chat. So all you do is just type the text first, select it, and then pick the buttons. If you pick the capital A with the colored bar underneath, the colored letter A's are the color of the text, and the colored boxes inside that same option is the background. So these can be really fun in incorporating some gamification into your meetings as well. You can ask people to find their favorite color and to put their name in their favorite color in the chat. So using something like these features can incorporate some gamification, and you can get people involved. Let's say choosing their favorite color and putting it in the chat, typing their favorite food or their favorite movie theme, and using the different formatting methods for that to stand out. It really turns that Zoom fatigue into Zoom fun. You can also use the chat to send a private message to the host or co-host. What you want to do is click down there where it says everyone, and then you're either going to be prompted with the name of the host or co-host, or even someone else in the meeting. It depends. Sometimes the person running the meeting will limit it, that you cannot send a private message to someone else in the meeting. You can only send it to the host or co-host, but you have to choose the options there. And when you click the other person's name, you can see right there, it says direct message. And then whatever you type, that message will only be sent to them. They're the only ones that will see it. You'll also notice that in the chat toolbar, there is an emoji button. So you can just put an emoji in and Send that. Make sure though, if you want these messages to go back to everyone in the meeting, that you choose that in the box appropriately. This is another option to use for gamification. If you want them to put a star in the chat, and the first one to put the star in the chat gets access to, let's say, your game board, you can look down at the chat and see who put it in first. There is also a button in the chat for you to drop a file. If you have a PDF or a handout or a guide, just click on that button there, click your computer, because that's where you have the file saved. Find that file wherever you've stored it on your computer, click on it, and when you click the paper plate button, that file, that PDF, will be in the chat for others to download. They can actually click on it from wherever they are in the world and save it to their computer. Very handy. So another way to engage inside your Zoom meeting is using the React button. And when you click there, you get multiple rows of emojis. And that first row, those emojis will animate. And so if you are trying to let someone know that you celebrate what they just announced, then you click the emoji in that first row and it animates. It colors your background a little bit and those emojis fly up the screen. It's a lot of fun, especially when you are muted and you want to, give someone some love. You just click that heart in the first row. That first row sends with effect, which is what you just saw. The last button, though, the 3-dot icon, gets you a whole database of emojis. So you could even give that cool sunglasses emoji and it floats up the screen. So if you want to react with another emoji from that second row, these are emojis that appear in the top left corner. Watch. So if you click one of the emojis, it just shows up there in the corner. And again, you're muted in the meeting. This is a great way to show what you're feeling, your appreciation. Maybe you've got it and you can see it turns off all by itself, unlike the first one that float up your screen. There is a third row though. Look at this, the third row in the reactions, especially that first one, the green circle and the red circle. Now you can click that to indicate yes. You're answering yes to the question. And in this case, it's permanent. So it does stay there until you turn it off. So right here is the button to turn it off. And you can also do the same with the red circle to indicate no. So these are great ways to have nonverbal feedback. As the host of the meeting, you can ask your participants, you can say, hey, everybody, please go to the react button, locate that green circle with the check or the red circle with the X, and I'm going to ask you a question. And then this is a great alternative to them unmuting to answer or even raising the digital hand, which by the way, is located also along your toolbar. Now, if you don't see it here, you're going to go down there to the more button, and then there is a raise hand button. And when you click on raise hand, then it raises your digital hand inside the meeting. And if you are the participant, the host is alerted that you have raised your hand and you actually move in the gallery so that it is noticeable that you have to ask a question. And then the host or the presenter may then ask you to unmute, which remember is down there. So when you click on your audio button, and you see that line through it, that means you're muted. So if you're going to ask a question, you have to first unmute yourself by clicking the button as I did. And so there's no red line through it. And then once you're done asking your question, just look down there and click on lower hand. And then that clears your video thumbnail. And so the presenter knows that you're done and you don't have any other question to ask. So other than those, the reactions are really great because as a host, you can ask people to use them so that they don't have to unmute, and it keeps things flowing very seamlessly. There are some others that are fun. You can have one that says, I'm away. Now, of course, if you're on screen, you're not away. But if you turned off your video like this, and then put that I'm away in the top left corner, then that's a way to indicate that you're not only off screen or off camera, but that you have stepped away for a moment so they don't call on you to ask a question. And then finally, at the very bottom, there is a button that just says, be right back. Watch this. That does a combination of both. As you saw in the top left corner, it puts you in the status that you are away. And so you'll see it's going to mute me, but you're going to see as I do this, be right back, watch my screen, and then there's a button at the bottom that says, I'm back. And then when you click on I'm back, it takes you off video and unmuted. That's a big help. So if you have to go answer a phone call or step away, just use that button and your host will be communicated that you have stepped away and what's happening. So this next part of presenting or taking part in a Zoom meeting is huge. It's what we call sharing your screen. So when you are taking part in a Zoom meeting and you are virtual like this, you've got something to say to your audience. And that's whether you are the host or you are a participant, you can still share your screen with the proper settings. And that button is located here. It's the green one, so you can't miss it. So right there, when you click on the button, we're not clicking on the little tiny arrow next to it, just on the green button. This is the screen that shows the different ways that you can share content. And that starts with the very first row, which is indicating which screen I want to share, the entire screen. So I have 2 computer monitors set up at this time. And if I wanted to share the entire screen too, I would choose desktop 2, as opposed to the second row of icons you can see is indicated under the title application windows. These are the different applications. So if I had PowerPoint running, I would click there. If I'm going to run a Canva presentation, I'm going to click on Google Chrome because that's going to be where my Canva is located. And that's only going to share that one application. And then when I click share on the bottom, that share is brought into the meeting. Now, before you do that, on the right-hand side, you can see some other options. And I want to alert you to the share sound button. If you are going to be sharing a presentation that has some sort of multimedia in it, video with sound, so you want to click here, and then you want to click the down arrow, indicate that it is in stereo. That's going to give you a better sound through your meeting. And then this will allow the sound to come through your meeting into everyone else's speakers. If you don't choose this, the sound will only play here in your own office or home office. So that's an important one. Furthermore, above there are different ways that you can lay out the share screen. And you'll see the little silhouettes. It's a little more advanced than we're going to go through today in our beginner's guide, but this indicates how your video will appear on top of your shared content just by clicking one of those buttons. And then at the bottom, you just click share. There comes a time when you would like to share your screen from another camera, and that's going to be, that option is available for you at the top here. So you can see we came in here from the screens option. There is a documents option and an advanced option. And we won't go through all of these in our beginner guide today, but it's important to know that these are here so that when you're ready, you can actually share content from your iPhone or iPad. For those of you using Android phones, you will need to connect with a second camera, a type of document camera, so that you can actually put your phone on the desktop of your table and the camera will connect to your computer and show us whatever's on the desktop. You can also connect just sound for those of you who would like to play music in the background without sharing your screen. So for instance, you have music coming from a copyright-free playlist, but you want to be seen, you would click computer audio and click share, and then it would not even look like anything was obstructing your view. You would still have full screen in video, but whatever sound you played would come through. And then when you go back to share, you're going to go back to screens and you can share a different application. So in this case, if you wanted to pick your Google Chrome and click share, then the share that comes up is going to have you in the upper right corner in this smaller rectangle, and then your share screen is going to be taking up most of the screen for your participants to see. And in that case, I chose Google Chrome and I happen to be on the Zoom website. When you're sharing, you will see this floating controls bar, and it can be anywhere on the screen. So I'm moving it right now with my pointer. You can move it by putting your pointer in that area of the bar where you see it has a green rectangle. In the green rectangle, there is a little curved arrow, and if you click that, it will also dock it to the top of your screen or move it to the bottom of your screen. This can be helpful because if you are showing something from your computer browser that has information at the top and you want to get to it, sometimes this bar covers it. So you want to make sure that you can move it around the screen. And then notice that as the sharer, when you're sharing in, you don't have to necessarily be the host. Your audio and video buttons, as well as participants and chat, are all moved to this floating control bar. That's supposed to help you so that you can get to these easily. The other buttons on there will be used at times, but not all the time, indicating that you can annotate on your screen, you can draw somewhere on your screen, and we have a YouTube video about that, what happens when someone draws on your screen, and it's this function that's being done. There is also a way that you can have someone else control your slides, so if you want to present, but you don't want to have to be the one clicking, this also lets you do that. And then there is an option where when you're sharing, if you want to come back to just the gallery of people and not look at the share, but look at all the people and have a discussion, then you can do hide meeting. So these are all great controls that will help you during the share. And again, it's for anyone who has control of the screen. When you're done, you're going to click on that red button right there, and that's going to stop your share and bring you back to gallery. Right. So when you are the host of a meeting, your toolbar is different than when you're a participant. So this same application opens up when someone sends you a link to join their meeting and you're the participant, you still have a toolbar, but it's the participant's toolbar. When you start the meeting yourself and you are the host, by the way, there's only one host in every meeting, only one. You get this special button here and it says host tools. So when you open up the host tools menu, you can do this during a meeting and people don't see this. You're only seeing it now because of the way I'm sharing with you. But all of these options here can be turned on or turned off. The ones that are on are the ones with the check marks. And the one that's most popular is the one that says enable waiting room. You see, when you start a meeting with a waiting room, which I highly recommend, people are there waiting to be admitted into the main meeting room. And that's perfect because then you can control the flow of people in. However, when you start your presentation, you might want to disable the waiting room so that anybody who joins can join right in and join the presentation. So if you want that effect and then you don't have to watch, you can just start your presentation. You want to click here where you see the title, Enable Waiting Room. Now watch. The menu disappears, but if you click on that Host Tools button again, look at that. Now the option is not checked. So it is disabled. You'll also see a little message on your screen that says it was disabled when you click it. All the other options here can come in handy, ranging from locking the meeting, which means when you have started, and let's say it's 10 minutes in or 15 minutes in, and you have an agreement with people who are joining that, let's say they only get credit for your event or your class if they show up prior to maybe 10 minutes in. If you don't want them to have access, or maybe you've hit your quota and nobody else can join, you can actually lock the meeting. And when you click there, again, the way that this menu works, watch, see how there's a check mark there? So anybody who clicked the link that you shared would get a message that says this meeting is closed, it's locked, and they can't get in. They'll have to contact you at a later date to make up the class. That's just like locking a physical door, if you think about it, when you're having an event and you didn't want other people to come in. So if you go back to that menu, you can also do things for security purposes. Maybe you don't want people to be able to show their profile pictures when they turn off their videos. You can do that. All of these things that have check marks, your participants are allowed to do them right now because they are enabled with the check marks. So if you don't want people to be able to share, you can actually take away that option by clicking on it. And see, when the check mark is not there, they don't have that ability. You probably want to keep the chat on, but this is a way that you can tweak it. And you probably want them to be able to rename themselves, but maybe you want to go into a portion of your presentation where they can't unmute. So you click there. See, you take a little check. You're like, ooh, it's not enabled. They cannot unmute themselves. Now you go ahead with the presentation, and then you want to open it up for Q&A at the end. Now you click there, and now they'll be able to unmute themselves. So it's a great way to take this Zoom meeting style and turn it into somewhat like a webinar so that people cannot unmute while you are presenting. And that is the same for most of these in the menu, which we won't go through all of them here for this beginner's guide, but check our YouTube channel. We have many many videos about how to use the other features, such as, like I mentioned here, annotating. And you can take away that ability using this option right here. All right, so this next option, AI Companion, with the onset and trend of AI features in all applications across the tech space, Zoom has incorporated AI also into the meetings. When you click on the AI Companion, there's a twofold purpose here. As a participant, you can indicate over there on the sidebar, you can say, hey, I needed to step away. Could you catch me up, please? And AI Companion will give you a narrative about what the presenter was talking about. You can also ask, was my name mentioned? Or are there any other action items? There is a transcript that is being created at this time, and those notes will be given back to you. You can also ask what topics have been discussed. As a host, you have the option to start AI Companion when the meeting starts. And in the background, there is a meeting summary that is being generated. So it uses that transcript and generates a meeting summary, which is a fabulous narrative about what took place. So you don't have to take notes while you are presenting and people are asking questions. It'll also give you a great section in your meeting summary about next steps. So when you are talking about, okay, everyone, when we meet next time, I would like you to do the following. And when you mention people's names, those items will come up in your meeting summary. And then you can share that narrative with everyone and even create other documents automatically from that inside what we call Zoom Docs. It's really quite an amazing feature, the AI Companion. And you'll even see at the bottom there, which I won't go through right now in this beginner guide, but in some of our other videos where we talk about AI Companion, you can see on the bottom there where it says write a message or type for more. You can actually use this. It's an AI feature interwoven into your Zoom meetings here. I highly recommend you try it. All right, so Zoom also has an app marketplace. You have this apps button in your toolbar, and when you click there, it opens up this sidebar with all of the apps that you could use to complement your Zoom meeting. Some of them are related to, let's say, using a timer or creating virtual backgrounds or even playing music. And so, like, if you wanted to run a timer in your meeting, you would just click there on the timer app, and that opens up your ability to set a timer. Let's say you want to send your audience on break. Well, you can play a timer and it'll even have a little sound that goes off when it's time to come back, and everybody will see that on the screen. Zoom has the ability to show captions. You can show captions in your meeting, which is a great thing to complement accessibility. If someone needs the ability to see what you're saying rather than being able to hear it, your captions can do that for them. And these will show up at the bottom of the screen. You can choose the language for this meeting. So the captions will appear in that language for everyone. And you can see there that there's a list, many to choose from, and you can click save. Make sure then that the captions are turned on. This will be on their end as well. So you can prompt them at the bottom there. There's a show hide captions button right there, CC. So you can let them know that they can turn captions on. You're only seeing mine right now because of the way I'm sharing this for this recording. You can also click on the little arrow right next to there and also get to that menu of choices. You can also view the full transcript, as well as you can go into the caption settings. Anybody can do this for their screen. And in this case, your captions can have a certain color. If you wanted them to stand out, you can also change the font size. And so now when you show the captions, they're much bigger on the screen. So if someone is trying to read what you're saying rather than hear it, this will help them out tremendously. You can record your Zoom meeting. Right here is a record button. Now, right now, there's a recording in progress. And so you see there your options are either to pause the recording or stop the recording. When you come into your Zoom meeting, the button there will be a circle indicating that you can start the recording. And then you can see up there, the top of the screen, there is an indicator with a pulsing red circle that indicates that there is a recording in progress. Now that indicator is shaped like a cloud because right now this recording is being recorded to the Zoom cloud, which you will be given that choice if you have a paid Zoom account. If you only have a free account, then your recording will be saved to your computer's hard drive. It will be located inside your documents folder and then in the Zoom folder for the meeting that you're currently recording. While the recording is going on, anything that is said during this meeting will be captured. Therefore, people are given a waiver. They're given a decision that there is a recording in progress and they must okay that message in order to stay and take part. You'll notice if people tell you that they can't unmute themselves or change any of their settings, it's because they have a banner across the top of their screen that says this meeting is being recorded and they must click OK to continue and stay. When this recording is done, this one that is recording to the cloud, it'll be located in the Zoom web portal, located at zoom.us. And so you just go there and your recordings are kept until that cloud space is full, which is approximately 10 gigabytes, but you can download them, delete the recording that was there and free up space for new recordings to come. All right, we have breakout rooms right here. This is what sets Zoom apart from the rest. When you open up the breakout rooms option, you're given 3 choices. You can break people out from this main meeting room into individual breakout rooms where they can't see you or hear you unless you send them a text message or a voice message, but you're not in there with them. You can pair them up with people in order to create an area where they can have case studies and exercises and smaller meeting rooms, just like you would have maybe in a physical conference space. You can see here that you have 3 choices. You can break them out either automatically, that's mathematically. So you're just going to up the number of rooms at the top to how many you want. And then depending on how many people are in the room with you, they'll just be divided mathematically. The second option, to assign manually, that's where you get to choose the names and put them in rooms. That's really great when you have your events that run concurrently, or you have events that run repeatedly over weeks, and it's the same group that attends. And you might want to put the same people together, or you might want to specifically match up maybe a group leader with their attendees. And then finally, to let people choose. So this is fabulous. You can create an online summit or a town hall where you can have multiple speakers attending, one in each room, and then have the rooms named with the topic of the presentation, and then let people choose where they want to go. This feature, like I said, sets Zoom apart from the rest. If you're not using breakout rooms to increase your engagement, you must start immediately. And then here you've got Zoom Notes. Zoom Notes opens up in the sidebar so that you have a way to take notes while you are in the meeting. All you have to do is click that new button in the upper right corner. It creates a new note right on the screen next to you. All you have to do is start typing, and it's a little typing area that you can take notes while the meeting is going on. If you wanted to, you could even format your text by selecting it and using the fonts at the top. So it gives you this little area that you can even turn into a note that you share with others later. If you want to make it look somewhat presentable, you can do that. You can even share this into the meeting. So if there was an agenda that you wanted to give prior to starting your presentation and your agenda wasn't in the presentation, you want to leave those slides alone, this is a great way that you can look there and see what you're going to talk about first and what you're going to talk about second. So many times we're not really sure what to talk about. You can just put your notes right on the screen and no one knows that they're there. Zoom also has docs. Now, think of this as an area where you create a document based on what has transpired in a meeting. And these are so powerful. Down the left-hand side, you've got ones that have been created recently. You have ones that have been created and saved for you. And then at the bottom, you've got recommended templates. So in seconds, you could create a meeting agenda simply by clicking on the template and having everything filled in for you. Now, those Zoom docs, they get even more power when combined with AI Companion that I talked about earlier. After a meeting completes, you take your meeting summary and you transform it right into a meeting agenda. It takes all the information that was said in the meeting and it fills in all the blanks for you. Amazing. And here we have whiteboards. The Zoom whiteboard, you can see, gives you the option to create a new one or bring up one of your existing ones. A whiteboard mimics What we would have in an in-person class where we would have maybe a flip chart or a board on the wall or even a board in an easel, well, now you can have a board right on the screen. This is the Zoom whiteboard, and it has so much functionality. You can share this with your audience. They can collaborate with you on it. You can put it inside their Zoom account, and you'll see down the left-hand side, you've got so many tools and templates to use. If you wanted to engage with your audience, you could have each of them put an area on the board, pick a different color, and this is an excellent way to also increase your engagement inside your Zoom meeting. So in addition to the sticky notes, there's also on the left-hand side, there are tools so that people can add their own text. So if you were going to talk about the different levels, let's say, of a program, these sticky notes could also be your headers. And then the items also can be moved around. You can also have this whiteboard done for you before your meeting even starts. And then you can bring this up on the screen and have people engage with you on it and collaborate. You can also have them add their items below. It's a fabulous resource. And then all you're going to do is click stop at the top and then click that red X at the top right corner, and the whiteboard closes. You will find that whiteboard inside your Zoom web portal at zoom.us. Okay, so that's everything you can do using those buttons in your Zoom toolbar. And when you're a host, you do see some more features than when you're a participant. And some of those are on the More menu, like launching polls and quizzes, or starting focus mode, or even live streaming from Zoom into, let's say, your Facebook group or your YouTube channel. And for more on that, why don't you look at our video on how to live stream? And you'll find out more about that and what the settings are and how you can exponentially grow your audience. These options right here, these are a little more advanced. And let me know in the comments if you'd like some more information on how to use these, and I'll come back to you with an advanced guide on how to use Zoom. All right. To end the meeting, you're going to click on End down there in the corner, and you will get the opportunity to either leave the meeting or end the meeting for everyone. Now, if you're the host, you only see these options. If you're a participant, you only see the option to leave. Actually, the button says Leave Meeting. So if you're the host and you were actually to leave the meeting, then somebody else would take on the role of host. They would have all their capabilities. So you want to make sure that you have somebody else in the meeting that you trust that could take over for you. They have host capability, and then you can leave. Now, when you end the meeting, or even when you leave someone else's meeting, you are shown here. This is the Zoom Workplace application, which is on your computer. And in the upper right corner, it shows that you're signed in. And when you click there, you get this menu of choices, very easy to check for updates or even set your status message. So you can see your status right above there. And when you connect with people inside your Workplace application, you can actually see when people are either in a Zoom meeting or whether they're not and just available. And you can message them. Zoom has become quite the business communication platform. Now, from here, too, you can jump right into settings and easily go through the settings that we covered here. So you might want to see what your video settings are. Your backgrounds are located here as well. And you can get these set up for you even before your meeting starts. You can even, down that left sidebar there, you can check on your audio settings as well as the meeting settings. And there are many of them in here. And that's a wrap on this complete Zoom tutorial. If you found it helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more easy tech tips and tutorials. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.